Prophetic Dream, When Trump Trumps Them All, date 2020. I was back in the military. I am not sure if I was recalled back into service or never retired. I, along with a group of non-commissioned officers, were allowed to eat in the dining facility. We were downrange at a campsite in a deployed location. For some reason, enlisted members were not allowed to eat in the dining facility. However, the dining facility manager made an exception by allowing at least the majority of the non-commissioned officers to eat inside the dining tent for one meal. After the non-commissioned officers crowded into the dining tent, every table was packed shoulder to shoulder. We sat at these cafeteria-style tables, which were the same type of tables that you would normally see in the eating area of an elementary school. Everyone was grateful to have the opportunity to eat a hot meal in the dining facility. While we were waiting for the meal to be served, a young troop sat down in our midst with a tray of Welch's fruit snacks. The snacks were peculiar. They were in the shape of small juice containers. These snacks do not exist on the market. Perhaps when they are produced and sold in stores, they will be a time marker for the events that I am talking about in this dream. When the young troop sat down with the tray full of fruit snacks, all the non-commissioned officers gasped in silent shock. It was obvious that those snacks were not to be enjoyed by enlisted members, but only by the higher-ranking officers. When the dining facility manager found out what happened, he kicked the young troop out of the dining tent. The troop did not eat any of the snacks. He just gathered them as an act of protest against the conditions in which they were forced to serve. The dining facility manager had a worried look on his face because he knew the news of the incident would reach his superiors. Next scene. I was shown a series of world leaders who, at some point in history, were given a time to rule. There was a continual process of change of power until President Trump came on the scene. He appeared as a lion dressed as a king with a crown and royal robe. He had a sphere in his left paw or hand. Suddenly, he began to ascend through the stratosphere of world power. When he reached the height of his power, he collapsed the old world system and built a new system in its place. I saw two dome-shaped buildings with multiple windows. One structure represented NATO, and the other represented the UN. Both of these historical organizations were dismantled. NATO was taken apart first, followed by the dissolvement of the UN. Once NATO and the UN were gone, a new organization was put in their place. The new organization had an extremely large building that was in the shape of a dome. Unlike the previous structures that were collapsed, the new organization had a building that was exceedingly wide and round. To give an example of what it looked like, it was very similar to Creflo Dollar's World Changers Church. When you see World Changer Church, imagine it 10 times bigger with a jet black exterior and extravagant lobby with pure white walls. The spirit and structure of the organization were a hybrid of religious and political powers. To make it simple, there was a merger between the global political power structure and the global religious power structure of the Roman Catholic Church. The building that housed this organization was big and beautiful. People came from all around the world to visit.